The world's smallest population of mountain gorillas, a subspecies of the eastern gorilla, is split in two, and scientists have debated whether they may be two separate subspecies. A bit more than half live in the Virunga Mountains, a range of extinct volcanoes that border the Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, and Uganda. The remainder can be found in the Bwindi Impenetrable National Park in Uganda. Since the discovery of the mountain gorilla subspecies in 1902, its population has endured years of war, hunting, habitat destruction, and disease threats so severe that it was once thought the species might be extinct by the end of the 20th century. The gorilla is the largest of all primates. Western lowland adult male gorillas, gorilla, are about 1.7 meters (66.9 inches) in body length and weigh about 169.5 kilograms (374 pounds). Adult females are about 1.5 meters (59.1 inches) in body length and weigh about 71.5 kilograms (158 pounds). Adult male mountain gorillas, Gorilla beringii, may weigh up to 220 kilograms (484 pounds) and females weigh about 97.7 kilograms (215 pounds). Cross-river gorillas, Gorilla diali, have been difficult to study due to their shy nature. However, it is estimated that an adult male weighs about 180 kilograms (396 pounds). Eastern lowland gorillas, Gorilla beringii graueri, are slightly larger than the western species, with adult males weighing up to 220 kilograms (484 pounds) and females weighing about 80 kilograms (176 pounds). Gorillas have a distinctive shape in that their stomachs are larger than their chests. Their stomach size is attributed to their enlarged intestines, which digest the bulky fibrous vegetation they consume. Gorillas have larger muscles in their arms than in their legs. The opposite is true for humans. This is primarily due to the fact that they use their increased arm strength for bending and gathering foliage and for defense. Although capable of walking upright on 2 feet, they most often walk as a quadruped, on 4 limbs. Gorillas' arms are much longer than their legs, and their arm span is about 30 centimeters, 1 foot longer than that of an adult human male. The elongated arms indicate a tree-dwelling ancestry, even though gorillas are now primarily terrestrial, ground-dwelling. An adult gorilla's upper body strength is 6 times more powerful than that of an adult human, enabling them to lift, break, and squeeze heavy objects. Gorillas have dark skin and black to brown-gray hair. Males acquire silver-gray saddles across their backs and upper thighs at sexual maturity, earning them the name silverback. This silver-gray area breaks up their overall dark coloration, creating an optical illusion of increased length and larger size. Lowland gorillas have shorter, sparse hair, whereas mountain gorillas have long and silky hair. Adult gorillas lack hair on their fingers, palms, soles, nose, lips, ears, and chest. Gorillas have 32 teeth, the same number as humans. Gorillas have large, strong teeth adapted for the coarse vegetation they consume. Adult males develop big, sharp canines as they mature. Gorillas have 2 full sets of teeth during their lifetime, similar to humans. The first set, similar to baby teeth, is lost and then replaced by their permanent set as adults. The head of a gorilla is massive, with a bulging forehead overhanging the eyes and a bony sagittal crest on top, high domed head. The sagittal crest, especially noticeable in males, supports the large temporal muscles needed to grind coarse vegetation. The thumb and big toe of gorillas oppose the other digits, fingers/toes, enabling them to grasp and manipulate objects. All primates have individualized fingerprints and toeprints, which may be used for identification purposes in the field. Gorillas are able to manipulate objects with their feet as well as their hands because of their opposable big toe. Primates have fingernails and toenails rather than claws. They are used for opening, scraping, cleaning, and scratching. Gorillas' nose regions are very distinctive in terms of the shape and wrinkles and are used by researchers to distinguish individual animals in the field. Gorillas, unlike monkeys, do not have tails. Adult male gorillas have large apocrine, scent, glands in their armpits that produce a pungent odor when excited or stressed. Gorillas have apocrine and eccrine, sweat, glands that lubricate the palms of their hands and soles of their feet. As their name implies, mountain gorillas live in forests high in the mountains, at elevations of 8,000 to 13,000 feet. They have thicker fur, and more of it, compared to other great apes. The fur helps them to survive in a habitat where temperatures often drop below freezing. But as humans have moved more and more into the gorillas' territory, the gorillas have been pushed farther up into the mountains for longer periods, forcing them to endure dangerous and sometimes deadly conditions. What might have been a bleak outlook for the subspecies just a couple of decades ago has brightened in recent years due to conservation efforts. Despite ongoing civil conflict, poaching and an encroaching human population, both populations of mountain gorillas have increased in numbers. The gentle giants of the African forest, gorillas are the largest living primate and one of humans' closest living relatives. Although physically intimidating and powerful, gorillas are extremely intelligent, sensitive, and emotional beings. In fact, they share many human emotions such as laughter and sadness, so it is no surprise that gorillas share 98% of their genetic code with humans, making them one of humans' closest living relatives, after chimpanzees and bonobos. Gorillas are the largest of the great apes. There are 5 species of great ape, including gorilla, orangutan, chimpanzee, bonobo, and human. Adult male gorillas are identified by a sagittal crest along the midline of the skull. A sagittal crest is a ridge of bone running lengthwise along the midline of the top of the skull, at the sagittal suture. The presence of this ridge of bone indicates that there are exceptionally strong jaw muscles, and an area of white hair on the back, which is why they are known as silverbacks. Gorillas are large powerful animal with a strong prominent chests and shoulders. They have large, human-like hands, with muscular arms that are longer than their legs. Gorillas have both black hair and skin, but lack any hair on their face, hands, and feet. The chest of a male gorilla is also bare, and small eyes set into hairless faces. The gorilla's face has small ears, small eyes, with large nostrils and a prominent brow ridge. Male gorillas are about twice as heavy as females and reach a height of about 1.7 meters, 5.5 feet, and weight of 135 to 220 kilograms, 300 to 485 pounds. An adult female typically is about 1.5 meters tall and weighs about 70 to 90 kilograms. There are 2 species of gorilla, both of which live in equatorial Africa, located on or near the equator, separated by about 560 miles of Congo Basin forest. Each species of gorilla has a lowland and upland subspecies. The 2 species, the western gorilla and eastern gorilla, and each species has 2 subspecies. You can find out more about each of the subspecies by clicking on the images below. All 4 subspecies of gorilla are either listed endangered or critically endangered, threatened by habitat loss, deforestation, poaching, bushmeat, and disease. Gorillas have a well-developed and sophisticated social structure, living in family groups typically ranging from 5 to 10 individuals but can vary as much as 2 to 50 individuals. The family is typically comprised of 1 or 2 males, silverbacks, females, infants, and young adult males, blackbacks. The silverbacks lead the family and the dominant male, can retain their position of head of the family for many years. When a male reaches maturity and adulthood, he will either leave the group and establish his own range near if old family, or if the adult remains with the group, that is an indication that the male is the offspring of the dominant male and that offspring will later take over leadership of the group. Female gorillas leave their group at maturity to join other groups or single males. Female gorillas become sexually mature at 7 to 8 years old, but do not begin to breed until a few years later, whilst male gorillas do not reach sexual maturity until the age of 15, on average. Female gorillas give birth about once every 4 years. The gestation period is about 8.5 months, 257 days, and they typically give birth to only one baby. The female will only have 3 to 4 babies in her entire lifetime. This low rate of reproduction makes it difficult for gorillas to recover from population declines. The average gorilla life expectancy in the wild is between 35 to 40 years. Female gorillas leave their group at maturity to join other groups or single males. To communicate, wild gorillas use a variety of calls including grunts, hoots, barks, and roars, which is given by aggressive males. The gorilla is a peaceful and unaggressive species unless it is unduly disturbed. Unwanted visitors are usually met head-on by the group's silverback, who will display aggressive dominant behaviors to fend off the intruders and protect his group. This aggressive display usually involves chest beating, vocal roars, and short rushes toward the intruder. Chest beating is performed by both males and females. Chest beating is often part of a ritual that may also include running sideways, tearing at vegetation, and slapping the ground. In addition to intimidating intruders, these displays also act as communication between groups and are often used to maintain the dominance hierarchy within the group. What do gorillas eat? Gorillas are mainly vegetarian, feeding on fruits, stems, and bamboo shoots, complemented with bark and invertebrates. Some western lowland gorillas have been known to break open termite nests and feed on the larvae. Gorilla, genus of primates containing the largest of the apes. The gorilla is one of the closest living relatives to humans. Both groups last shared a common ancestor about 10 million years ago. Only the chimpanzee and the bonobo are closer. Gorillas live only in tropical forests of equatorial Africa. Most authorities recognize 2 species and 4 subspecies. The western gorilla, gorilla, is made up of 2 subspecies, the western lowland gorilla, gorilla, which inhabits the lowland rainforests from Cameroon to the Congo River, and the cross-river gorilla, gorilla d'Ali, which inhabits a small forested region along the cross river separating Nigeria from Cameroon. The eastern gorilla, G. birengii, is also made up of 2 subspecies, the eastern lowland, or growers, gorilla, G. birengii groweri, of the lowland rainforests of the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kinshasa, and the mountain gorilla, G. birengii, found in the montane rainforests and bamboo forests of the highland terrain north and east of Lake Kivu, near the borders of Uganda, Rwanda, and Congo, Kinshasa. The gorilla is robust and powerful, with an extremely thick, strong chest and a protruding abdomen. Both skin and hair are black. The face has large nostrils, small ears, and prominent brow ridges. Adults have long, muscular arms that are 15 to 20% longer than the stocky legs. Males are about twice as heavy as females and may attain a height of about 1.7 meters, 5.5 feet, and weight, in the wild, of 135 to 220 kilograms, 300 to 485 pounds. Captive gorillas of both sexes may grow quite fat and hence become much heavier. A wild adult female typically is about 1.5 meters tall and weighs about 70 to 90 kilograms. Gorillas lack hair on the face, hands, and feet, and the chest of old males is bare. The hair of G. birengii is longer than that of the other 3 subspecies. Adult males have a prominent crest on top of the skull and a saddle of gray or silver hairs on the lower part of the back, hence the term silverback, which is commonly used to refer to mature males. This saddle is much more conspicuous in eastern gorillas, G. birengii, which are jet black, than in western gorillas, G. gorilla, which are more of a deep gray-brown. Gorillas live in stable family groups numbering from 6 to 30. The groups are led by 1 or 2, occasionally more, silverback males that are related to each other, usually a father and 1 or more of his sons. Occasionally brothers lead a group. The other members are females, infants, juveniles, and young adult males, blackbacks. Adult females join from outside the group, and the young are offspring of silverbacks. The gorilla is active during the day, diurnal, and primarily terrestrial, usually walking about on all 4 limbs with part of its weight supported on the knuckles of its hands. This mode of locomotion, called knuckle walking, is shared with chimpanzees. Occasionally gorillas stand erect, mainly when displaying. Females and young climb more than males, mainly because much vegetation cannot support the weight of males. Their diet is vegetarian. That of eastern gorillas includes leaves, stalks, and shoots, but western gorillas eat much more fruit. Gorillas generally dislike water, but in some areas, such as the Sangha-Ndoki region on the borders of Cameroon, the Republic of the Congo, Brazzaville, and the Central African Republic, they wade waist-deep into swampy clearings to feed on aquatic plants. Gorillas spend much of their time foraging and resting, with the group traveling a few hundred meters between several daily feeding bouts. Each group wanders through a home range of about 2 to 40 square km, 0.77 to 16 square miles, though several different groups may share the same part of the forest. At dusk each gorilla builds its own crude sleeping nest by bending branches and foliage. A new nest is built every night either on the ground or in the trees. The gorilla is much larger than its closest relative, the chimpanzee, and has a less boisterous disposition. Although it is a relatively quiet animal, the repertoire of gorilla calls includes grunts, hoots, a terrifying alarm bark, and the roar, which is given by aggressive males. Much has been written about the ferocity of the gorilla, but studies indicate that it is unaggressive, even shy, unless unduly disturbed. Intruders may be faced by the leading silverback of the group, which may make aggressive displays in attempting to protect his dependents. Such displays commonly involve chest beating, vocalization, or short rushes toward the intruder, followed in most instances by a discreet withdrawal. Chest beating is performed by both males and females, but it is much louder in males because air sacs in the throat and chest make the sound more resonant. Chest beating is often part of a ritual that may also include running sideways, tearing at vegetation, and slapping the ground. In addition to intimidating outsiders, gorilla or human, these displays also act as communication between groups and are often used to maintain the dominance hierarchy within the group. Cognitively, gorillas lack the curiosity and adaptability of chimpanzees, but gorillas are calmer and more persistent. Captive gorillas have shown a capacity for problem solving and have demonstrated a degree of insight as well as memory and anticipation of experience. They appear to be as adept as chimpanzees at learning sign language from humans. Some gorillas can recognize their image in a mirror and can thus be said to have a limited sense of self-awareness. This trait is shared with chimpanzees and orangutans. Only a few other non-human animals possess that ability. Wild female gorillas give birth about once every 4 years. There is no fixed breeding season. The gestation period is about 8.5 months, and births are usually single, though twins occur on rare occasions. A newborn gorilla weighs only about 2 kilograms and is utterly helpless for the first 3 months of life, during which it is carried in its mother's arms. The young gorilla sleeps in the mother's nest at night and rides on her back during the day. Female gorillas begin to reach reproductive maturity at about 10 years of age and then transfer to another group or to a lone silverback. Males reach sexual maturity at about age 9, but they do not reproduce until they become more physically mature silverbacks at about 12 to 15 years of age. Most male gorillas leave the group in which they were born and try to gather females to form their own family group. This may involve some aggression, since a young male may invade an established group and try to kidnap females, sometimes killing infants in the process. Occasionally a male will stay in his birth group and become its second silverback, breeding with some of the females and ultimately taking over its leadership when his father ages or dies. The life expectancy of wild gorillas is about 35 years, though captive gorillas have lived into their 40s. The gorilla has become increasingly rare throughout its range, having suffered from human destruction of its forest habitat and from big game hunting and overcollection by zoos and research institutions. A newer threat is hunting associated with the bushmeat trade, especially to feed logging crews. With respect to eastern gorillas, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, has listed both the eastern lowland gorilla, G. beringii graueri, and the mountain gorilla, G. beringii, as critically endangered subspecies. Together, eastern lowland gorillas and mountain gorillas number fewer than 5,000, with the smaller mountain gorilla population estimated at only 1,000 individuals. Mountain gorilla numbers continue to decline from habitat loss as a result of human activities, farming, grazing, logging, and, recently, habitat destruction by refugees. At the same time, ecotourism involving visits by travelers to see gorillas in their natural habitat has contributed to the conservation of the mountain gorilla. Although western gorillas are more numerous than their eastern counterparts, the IUCN still classifies both subspecies as critically endangered because their populations continue to decline from the effects of poaching and habitat loss. Cross-river gorillas are at the greatest risk, with adults numbering fewer than 250 individuals. Western lowland gorilla population estimates are substantially higher, however. They doubled in 2008 with the discovery of a previously unknown population numbering more than 100,000 and inhabiting the swamps of Lac Tela Community Reserve in the Republic of the Congo. Ecological studies, however, continue to document the ongoing population decline among western lowland gorillas, falling from an estimated 362,000 in 2013 to 316,000 by 2018. Gorillas are mainly herbivores, and their diet mostly consists of bamboo, fruit and leafy plants, though western lowland gorillas also eat small insects. Adult gorillas can eat up to 30 kilograms of food each day. As roaming herbivores, gorillas play a vital role in seed dispersal. Many large fruit trees depend upon these animals to survive. In the wild, a gorilla's lifespan is around 35 to 40 years, but they often live longer in captivity, sometimes for over 50 years. The oldest gorilla ever recorded was a female western gorilla at the Columbus Zoo that reached the ripe old age of 60 before dying in 2017. Gorillas build nests in which to sleep, both on the ground and in trees, made of leaves and branches. Counting abandoned nests is an effective way for scientists to estimate population size. Just like us, humans have unique fingerprints, but that's not much use for identification in the field. More helpfully, gorillas also have unique nose prints, which can be used to identify individuals from photographs by looking at the nostrils and the bridge of the nose. Gorillas, plus chimps and bonobos, are specialized knuckle walkers. This is not because they can't carry their weight upright, they can walk bipedally when necessary. As knuckle walkers, gorillas have various adaptations for stability and weight bearing. The middle and end phalanges, finger bones, which bear the animal's weight, are widened and flattened for extra strength. In the forearm, the end of the radius that sits nearest the hand is both cupped and downward facing, allowing it to fit snugly beside the scaphoid in the wrist. The metacarpals, knuckle bones, have ridges that lock into place with the phalanges, and the skin on the fingers is thick as well as heavily padded. All in all, a gorilla's hands and wrists are strong, stable units capable of supporting a 270 kilograms male. Females usually produce just one baby every 4 to 6 years. In total, a female will only give birth 3 or 4 times. Such a low reproduction rate makes it difficult for populations to bounce back following a decline. Baby gorillas are called infants, just like baby humans, which makes sense when we're so closely related. Gorillas are the largest primates, with a huge appetite for leaves, shoots, stems, roots and fruit. An adult consumes 18 to 20 kilograms of food daily, mainly foliage, and will swallow many large seeds intact. As gorilla families move through the forest to forage, they defecate, thereby depositing seeds far away from the parent trees. Crucially, gorillas like to build sleeping nests in areas with an open canopy, and next morning tend to poop in the vicinity before heading off. This means that the dumped seeds are left sitting in piles of manure, under an uninterrupted sky, ideal conditions for germination. So gorillas not only disperse trees but also encourage them to grow, thereby playing a key role in maintaining West and Central Africa's tropical forests. In turn, this contributes to global carbon and water regulation, and helps to regulate our climate. Thank you for watching this video.